All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope everybody's staying warm, got a nice place, cozy, ready to watch this because we have Galen Hendricks coming up, who, if you've been in this business, you've probably heard about her. She is the queen of the bundle, and she is going to talk to us today about cross-selling ancillary products, which right now this is the perfect time to learn this. We've got a lot going on. Being able to fill in those med sups with everybody starting to write the plan N, this is the perfect opportunity for you. So get comfortable, and I am going to pass this over to Galen. Welcome.
Well, hello. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate you guys inviting me back. And as I was sharing with Allison, this is my third one today. So I think I've got a little bit of voice left. But, you know, what we're going to do today is try to keep this very, very simple so you guys can follow along. It is being recorded. So when I say there's a write down moment, it's usually because we're not recording, but usually the reason I say to write it down is simply because we are getting ready to share some good stuff. So hopefully my computer battery will stay as long as I will, and we will be good. So let's get started. Now, one of the things when we were with you guys last time, we talked a lot about how to do this cross-selling situation when we're talking about Med Advantage and Med Sup. For those of you that are in the under age 65 space, we also have trainings for that. But today, in order to keep it where everybody can retain it, we're going to try to keep it just around the Med Advantage and the Med Sup sale. But you'll be able, I think, to connect the dots as we go through. A lot of this stuff that you're seeing in this presentation, and I'm going to minimize our pictures here so you can see the full screen, but you know, those of you in the Med Advantage world are having some programs that have give back dollars. And if you do, the very first important thing is trying to find out what kind of budget you have available. And so this presentation is called 30, 60, or 90, but we've got some give back programs that have far more dollars than 30, 60, or $90. But to get to that point, there's an important question you always need to ask. And the first question is who helps you make your financial decisions? If they say, why do you want to know? If they say, well, it's XYZ. All of those are good things, because what we're trying to do is create credibility in the place that we're doing business at. So like if we're talking to Mrs. Jones and she tells us her daughter is Allison and Allison takes care of everything for her, then we're going to say, great, what is Allison's phone number? Do we need to get Allison on now, or do we need to connect her in later? And the reason we're asking that question is we're going to get an answer. We're either going to get, yes, connect her now, or she works and this is a better time to call her. However, what we want to do is find out if Mrs. Jones is capable of making her own decisions, or if we need to know that there's other children that help her. Because when they are on a Med Advantage plan, the thing about this is they are getting zero premium. However, there is going to be that moment if they are one of the two men or one of the three women or the 87% over age 50 that get diagnosed with cancer, that they're going to be asked for their maximum out of pocket. So we want to make sure that we know all of that up front so that we don't get that on the end. If we're in a Medicare supplement sale, we're going to ask the same question, but a lot of that is going to be more for the mere situation of if we're going to do a dental, vision, and hearing sale, because they don't realize that dental, vision, or hearing is covered on a Medicare supplement. We're also going to ask for a cancer sale, because with clients on Medicare supplement, they can go to any doctor, any hospital they choose. But some of these clients that are on Plan N, such as in the state of Arizona, the Mayo Clinic is not on the network. Or as we like to say in the med sup world, they are not accepting Medicare on assignment. So we want to make sure that we always ask that question. Agents will usually say, why do I need to do that? It's going to cost me a sale. We would rather find that out up front than on the end when the adult children get upset with us. So we call this the pivoting. We're pivoting and positioning the ancillary products now, because the next question we were going to ask on a Medicare supplement or a Med Advantage, what do you have in place on day 22 of skilled nursing? And the client is immediately going to say, what are you talking about? And that is exactly what you want them to say, because we're going to talk about the fact that if they're a dual customer and they've got Medicaid for their living and MedSup for their insurance, like my mother had, she was in a nursing home for rehab, and a really nice one. And on day 22, I got the call. What are we going to do with your mom? Where is she going to go? And for somebody that had been in the Medicare supplement world for quite a while, I was like, what do you mean? What am I going to do with her? And so this is another way of asking a question to get these children involved so that they will help us help them. So in this presentation, again, with it being recorded, you're going to get this whole presentation. We are not going to go over every single slide in this presentation, but this is another great slide for you all to know and understand, because you can share it with your clients. Most of your clients have homeowners and auto, and if you look there, you'll see that they're only filing on those claims 0.04% of the time and 0.06% of the time. Had this same client base of 5,000 clients ages 18 to 89 had a cancer policy, they would file on it 40% of the time. Long-term care, short-term recovery care, home health care, 70% of the time. Dental, not even dental, vision, and hearing, 100% of the time. And final expense, 100% of the time. The question you need to ask yourself as an agent is, do you have all of these plans on yourself? And if you don't, you should, because when you start pivoting and positioning these into presentations, clients and their adult children are going to ask you, well, how much would you take? How much do you have on yourself? And another great point here is that you all get paid on these. So you can't sell what you don't believe in. So after we get done with this presentation, the very first thing you should be doing is enrolling yourself. Now, a lot of your T65 clients are great clients to get, but a lot of you are already complaining that the 1-800 numbers are taking your clients. I call those the 1-800 hit wonders. When you're selling only Med Advantage or Medicare supplement, you're no different than those people. You want to make sure that when you are talking with your clients that they know that you're their agent. The earlier you start enrolling these clients, such as age 50, you're going to earn 15 more years of renewals than the agent that's going to just get this client at turning 65. But another great thing you need to remember is when these clients retire, they are told they can't take their dental with them. They're told they can't take their life insurance with them, their disability. And at that time, they think that they cannot buy these plans in the open market. And this is a perfect opportunity to educate your client and explain to them, yes, you can. The other thing you need to remember is a lot of them are taking their cancer plans with them, which they are totally able to port when they retire. The problem is that they're the type of plans that you actually have to file claims on to be able to use them. So a lot of clients in their 80s, when they're diagnosed with cancer, a lot of them are going to refuse treatment because they want to go to Mexico and get stem cells, or they just want to live out those last days of their life without being sick. When they have a lump sum cancer plan like the one we recommend with Aetna, they are able to just file an oncology report and get the lump sum of cash and do whatever they want to do with that. When clients have Medicare supplement, they want to use that money to go to the best doctors and the best hospitals, but it costs money to get there. So being able to have that lump sum cancer plan is a very big thing for them. At least when they especially want to bring one of their adult children in to take care of them, they can use that money to fly them in. Now, some of you that are selling duals, or some of you that are selling Med Advantage, you're like, well, what if they're a Medicaid pending client? How does that work? Well, you just may have to make sure that you only sell $5,000 worth of coverage, and that when you get that amount of money, you list it on the Medicaid application and you explain exactly what they were doing with that money. That is very, very important. The other thing I want to stress here to all of you is knowing the stats on these clients. You know, I know these like I know my name is Galen, but a lot of you do not. So these stats on this page are very important, especially when you're dealing in the senior population, because your clients are going to be in that 87% statistic. So a lot of you would, if you're not, you should be, start calling your clients now and asking if they've got their policyholder cards put in a safe place. We learned during COVID that a lot of our clients, adult children, didn't know where their parents' insurance cards were. So this is a perfect way to call them and make sure they've got those in a safe place. If you're talking to a client that you didn't get their insurance during AEP, you can still ask a really important question at this time. What health insurance program are you on, and what is your maximum out of pocket? Now, if they're on a Medicare supplement, they may say, well, I don't know what my maximum out of pocket is. If they are a Med Advantage client, then you want to have them screenshot you the policy card so that you can ask them a simple question. Well, this is a great plan, but what cancer protection did your agent enroll you in? If it's your client, you need to come back and say, you know, when we were discussing your health insurance, we talked about giving you a call back and finalizing your package of protection. And right now, knowing that you have a large out of pocket, and y'all, that could be anywhere from 500 to 9,000. To every client, it's different. But if we don't get them enrolled in a cancer plan, that burden typically falls on one of their adult children. So that's why we ask the question at the beginning, asking who helps you make your financial decisions. Because if they've said no one, I make mine myself, we can go ahead and complete the sale. If they say that they want their adult children involved, now we're able to get the adult children involved. And when we show them the rate sheet of what it costs to enroll their parent, and they see their age is much lower, then a lot of them will come back and say, hey, you mean I can get this plan for this amount of money for myself? And so that's why we screenshot these and send these to our clients. So for instance, in my home, my husband is 71 and I'm 61. So with Aetna, we are able to use the youngest spouse's age, which is unheard of in the market. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So if my husband were to buy $10,000 with Aetna for himself, it would be $33.15 a month. If we add me on as the youngest, both of us get $10,000 for just $14 more a month. So that is a big advantage of using the Aetna policy for this. We've also reduced rates over time, and there's no rate increases on their ancillary portfolio. So when you're screenshotting this to the adult children, and let's say they're in their 40s and they see they can get $50,000 for $62.33, but mom and dad are $165.74. That's another way that you can pick up referrals. So that's a really, really important thing to remember when you're talking to your clients over the phone. For those of you that are face to face and you're not using the Aetna e-app, the Aetna e-app is fantastic. We have several security questions to make them comfortable, but while you're sitting there freezing in your homes, this is a perfect time to get your client's package of protection completed, and also making sure that you're taking care of your income as well. Now, Aetna also has a 5-year look back, where a lot of other carriers have a 10-year look back. That 5-year look back on cancer is for the last time they had treatment. So make sure that you're getting that when you're doing your assessment. Also, with the cancer, heart attack, and stroke, you can mix and match benefits. So if you wrote them a $10,000 cancer plan, you could sell them a $5,000 heart attack and stroke. The other thing that Aetna has that's really great is the recurrence benefit, which means if your client files on their benefit, they get to keep this plan. It is not a one and done. So if they get diagnosed with cancer again after their last treatment, let's say they get diagnosed again in that 5 to 7 year mark, then they get to file for 50% of their benefit in Texas. In other states, it's also 50%. But if you notice here on this Texas versus these two, it's a little different. No, that's not because I live in the great state of Texas. It's just the way the departments work. All of the objections are the same on these products. That's why we ask who helps them make their decisions. So if they say they can't afford it, well, if they can't afford $30 a month for a cancer plan, they're not going to be able to afford the large out of pocket. So most of the time, their adult children will pay to buy these plans for them. So that gets us around all of these objections by asking that question in the beginning. And we've given you what I've already said in those objections in this presentation. Now, the other thing we want to remember is we always want to talk about personal stories when we're talking about the cancer plan. Now, I'll show you guys a cheat sheet here in a minute that you'll keep out in front of you. But these things are really good for you to go back in your own time and look at this presentation and do this in each and every presentation. Now, we've talked about the Med Advantage client, how they buy. Most of them will buy a hospital indemnity first, and that is simply because, one, the cost of cancer has gone really high. Two, agents don't like to talk about cancer, so the clients don't know they need to buy a cancer plan first. And most often, agents make the mistake of loading up on a hospital indemnity just to have the adult children come in and cancel that plan because mom or dad told them they were buying a zero premium plan, and they see a plan out there with GTL for $120, and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you spending $120? And when they cancel that coverage, they're also canceling their cancer plan. So we really advise for every agent on every client to do separate plans so that if a client does need to make a budget cut, they're going to call us. And the first one we're going to cancel is going to be the dental, vision, and hearing, because it's guaranteed issue. Then the next one we're going to cancel is probably the hospital indemnity, because most adult children can come out of pocket with around $1,800. Coming out of pocket with $4,500, especially if they've got to pay that MOOP 2 years in a row, that's a whole lot more expensive on those adult children. And now they're draining their 401k when they could have just bought a cancer plan. So that's the way you would take care of a Med Advantage client. A Medicare supplement client, it's really important to know that they want to buy dental, vision, and hearing first, even though they should buy cancer first. But they're going to buy dental, vision, and hearing first because they want to look good. They want to be able to see. They want to be able to hear. And they don't realize that they can't take those plans with them in the retirement world. So that's why 12% of Americans over 65 have dental coverage. They just don't know they can buy it. So for those of you that are saying, how do I network? How do I get more leads? The first thing you want to do is go into your dental offices and see if they have the Care Credit application in the window. If they do, they are charging clients 18% interest to do a crown and a root canal. A lot of you on this call don't see the need for a dental vision and hearing program because you look at the cost equated and the benefit, but you also are making more money than your clients. When they're sitting there with a tooth rotting out of their mouth and they're in severe pain, this could cost them 2 to 3 months of Social Security income. They love this plan. They want this plan. So bring it up in the presentation. But again, this is how they buy and the way they buy. Go back on your own time and look at Spouse in the House. But this is a way for you guys to pick up clients that you would earn 10 to 15 years more of renewal income than when you're just calling a T65 list. Now, we've talked about dental vision and hearing briefly, but this is something that you need to go back in on your own time. This is another great resource of knowing why you should offer them, but more importantly, understanding the two different products that Manhattan Life has. They have one that is called our Legacy Plan, and then there's one that will start paying majors on issue, but it'll only pay 20% of majors. The Select Plan requires that you use a network. The actual Legacy Plan does not require that you use a network, and you can negotiate cash. You can also, on the traditional, use all of your benefit for all hearing, all vision, or all dental, or a little bit of all three. When you're on the Select, you have to purchase the riders to do that. So I always tell everybody the Select is great if they've got a major situation they're wanting covered, but if they can wait the 12-month period on getting majors covered, the traditional is the better way to go. On the traditional, you can also use the network, but you don't have to. So that's a very important thing to know about the Manhattan Life. If you're not contracted with Manhattan Life, you need to ASAP with your team there at Emmerich. We just rolled out the hospital indemnity, and it is flying off the shelf. We had a health council call yesterday. It is the fastest moving product out there. It was designed by agents, for agents, so you'll see why it is doing so well. So don't forget to talk to Emmerich about that plan when we get off this call. When you get contracted with Manhattan, you get access to all the dental, vision, and hearing, but you have to be contracted on the ancillary contract, not just the MedSup contract. And Emmerich is very well aware of the two different contracts, but the products there at Manhattan right now are the OmniFlex, which is a short-term recovery care plan that's a hybrid of a long-term care and a short-term recovery care program. They have home health care at Manhattan. They now have the great hospital indemnity that can be sold in the underage 65 and also the senior market, along with the dental, vision, and hearing. Plus, there are Obamacare alternative plans that we have been selling since 2010. Not to mention, they have a great cancer plan as well. And Manhattan Life is known for their great agent incentive trips. And all of you can and should qualify for that when you're building these packages of protection. Now, the questions to ask your clients on dental is literally the third one there. You know, I don't have any teeth. People always say that. Well, you know what? The number one way of detecting brain tumors is through a vision exam. And the number one way of detecting coronary artery disease is through a gum check. So all of these questions are necessary when talking with your clients. Now, we've talked a lot about the client. I want to talk about you, the agent, now. Aetna gave a raise to all the agents across the board 2 years ago. And you can see there that the street level comp on the cancer plan is 80%, 30% over GTL, 20% over Cigna and Mutual of Omaha. It's a no-brainer. I mean, get contracted today. Very, 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 very important. This is the cheat sheet. This is the way clients buy. But I always like to remind you not to get overwhelmed. You're not going to sell all of these at the first call, but just selling one of two of these to start should be your goal. This is, again, the commission slide. Again, don't go get overwhelmed by you're not going to sell all these plans at one time. But remember, if your clients trusted you once, they'll trust you again. And if you look back at this cheat sheet and you go in order of this cheat sheet and you say, okay, on a Med Advantage client, I'm going to go for the cancer plan or the hospital indemnity, and you get that locked in. On the Medicare supplement client, you get a dental, vision, and hearing locked in or a cancer locked in. That's what you've got to focus on. And then later you can go back and get all of those clients connected. Now, everybody always wants to know how to get connected with me. This is the best way. Once you're contracted with Manhattan and Aetna, you get access to all of our tools. The team at Emmerich there knows how to get you connected. If not, they can call Sean in our office and they'll make sure you're connected. But what we're trying to do is make sure you start asking the right questions and start building these packages of protection. That's the best thing to get started with and to get going. Now, what I like to do here is take a break and turn it back over to our team there at Emmerich and see if we've got any questions we can ask or y'all want to ask that we can answer for you. So Allison, do you want to check with the team there, or do you have any comments?
So far, the only question I see is Mayo doesn't accept Plan N.
Correct, in Arizona, for sure.
Okay, and that was everything. So everybody else, if you've got questions, this is your time. She went through a lot. This is some good information, trying to get you make more sales, make more money in your pocket, and help more people. So what can we answer for you?
One thing I would advise, Allison, is everybody that's on this call today to get with your marketers there at Emmerich and go through this slide with them on what they get paid and how they get paid so that they know exactly where they're at when they start selling these plans. And to also make sure they have the trip qualification information from Manhattan Life. And to also go out to their portal to see what plans are offered in their state. Mm-hmm. You know, Aetna is in the majority of all of the states I think you and I have discussed that you guys are in. And I think you guys have done a really good job getting your agents contracted on the Aetna SSI side. But knowing these rate sheets is really, really important. So I would have your agents and your marketers really touch base and go over these rate sheets. They're real easy to pull up in the SSI portal side. And whether you're selling Med Advantage or Med Sup with Aetna, you can enroll right there on the platform, the cancer plan.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Regarding the Plan N, they asked why not? Why doesn't Mayo accept Plan N?
Good question. We don't know the answer to that. They do accept it. What they don't do is accept Medicare on assignment. So your clients would have a balance bill coming out of the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
Now, if they're on one of the other plans, that's not the case. If they have a Plan G, they don't have that issue. It's just on Plan N. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else?
In regard to the recording, is is this something that's being sent to us separately, or is this recording
This
to my?
is recording, and I will be sending it to you all after.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A lot of good information here. It's just a little bit too much to take in otherwise.
It is. It
Yeah.
definitely helps to see it more than once, to tell you the truth. It really does. More of it sinks in each time you watch it.
It sure does. And that's a very good question. So one of the things I would focus in on right off the bat are these statistics, number one. And then number two, depending on what plan you're selling. If you're selling a Med Advantage plan, we did a really good training this morning with Anna Patrick on Medicare Center, and that will be available out there as well. But you've got to remember to keep this simple. So if you're talking to clients about a Med Advantage plan, all you need to do is really go to the summary of benefits and know what the out-of-pocket is. And then create the cancer amount that you're going to sell around that MOOP times 2. So if they're not a dual and they're a regular Med Advantage client, and let's say their out-of-pocket was $4,500, start with a $10,000 cancer plan for that client and focus in on why that client should buy a $10,000 cancer plan. And then go to the second option and say, this would be your ambulance copay. This would be your observation stay benefit, because we know how observation stays are paid through Medicare. If we don't, you all need to know, because that's a huge issue right now. And that's really how to keep it very, very simple. On Medicare Supplement, focus on dental, vision, and hearing, and a cancer plan. Don't focus on all those things and overcomplicate. Make sure you're just keeping it very, very simple on how you're completing a package of protection based on the client's extreme exposure financially based on the product. That should make it much simpler for you when you're going back through this recording and this presentation, so that you just don't get yourself too overwhelmed.
Like that.
Yes.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Miss Galen? I think it's great. I each time I listen to you, it just gives me another idea, and it's just, I don't know, I'm ready to run afterwards. So.
Well, and what we need to remember is, for everybody on the call, is that, you know, it's not going to be easy the first time you do it, but you're going to get better each and every time you do it. For those of you that have access to Medicare Center, you know, go out there and get yourself enrolled in Legacy Safeguard, because Legacy Safeguard is a great way to start assessing with your clients on what.
What just happened?
When you muted everybody, you muted me too, and that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. So I'll start right back there. One of the things I would do is go to Legacy Safeguard. Allison and team can show you all how to get access to that. But when you're on Legacy Safeguard, what's great about that is it also gives you an assessment tool to be able to talk to your clients and also their adult children on why all of these plans are needed, including life insurance. So that's another way to kind of give you a chart of how to sit down and actually talk with your clients and make sure that their package of protection is well built. Those of you that have give back dollars, start there. If there's not give back dollars, then go to, what is your health insurance budget? Is it 30, 60, or 90? Your client sometime will say, well, it's 0. Well, when you were working, it wasn't 0. And it can't be zero when you're retired because you're not making as much money as you once were. So we've got to make sure that you have something in place so that you're not depleting your savings account when you could be spending $1 a day for these plans, and let the insurance company pay these large amounts instead of your savings accounts. That is the easiest way to get around that objection. Did we get anything else, Allison?
Well, and I'm really sorry. I was trying to unmute Mike because he might, but I can't unmute anybody.
So if you will just pull down your screen, everybody, you'll see your microphone. You can click on that and it'll take you off mute.
And yet it's not allowing. I am sorry.
It should allow each one of them to do it, because I was able to do it on my side. There you go. There's somebody.
Got Pat.
Just don't have anything to say, but I am unmuted. Thank you for a change. I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Well, here's what we can do. If you have a question or a comment, put it in the chat, and Allison and I'll try to answer those. Somebody came off mute there.
And I will be here until 5 to be able to help answer questions. So if you do have questions afterwards, you are welcome to give me a call.
If we believe we're contracted with them, what's the procedure for getting materials?
So if you are contracted with Manhattan and Aetna, you will go out to a link. So Allison, you'll just go out, you'll give Sean a call if you don't have the link to the Queen of the Bundle. And now what'll happen is you have to put your agent number in for Aetna, your agent number in for Manhattan, and it has to be the ancillary side. And then you put on there that you heard about this from the Emmerich call, and then they will connect you with the proper calling materials. I mean, the proper Queen of the Bundle materials.
Yes, ma'am, we will. All right, well, that's, okay, he says that's what he was asking about. So,
wonderful.
I think you've asked all their or answered all their questions.
Well, don't forget what you guys do is very important. Doctors don't work for free, neither do we. And the way doctors get paid is the very products that you offer. And so it's very, very important when you're talking with your clients, and especially their adult children, to make sure that they understand that the only reason you're building these packages of protection is to keep the burden of financial devastation down to the ultimate minimum that you can. And that these $1-a-day plans are the only way to do that, essentially. That's what makes the adult children feel very comfortable, and they will start taking these plans with you as well. So it opens up the world of referrals for you guys as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you are good, we don't want to take any more of their time, but always we're here.
Like you've answered everything.
And we're here as a resource for each and every one of you. So, you know, as you're studying this, if a question comes up, pop it over to Allison. She'll get back with us very quickly. We'll get this handled for you guys. And if you're struggling in your presentation, let us know that as well. That's what we're here for.
Yes. Perfect. Well, Galen, I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, so thank you for stepping in here.
You're very, very welcome.
Going through this with us. As for everybody on here today, I know you may have seen that we will be giving a $100 Amazon gift card out. We will be doing that drawing as soon as we end this call. and we'll be announcing that to you all. So I just want to let you know, thank you so much for showing up. And listen, you guys have any questions, you need anything contracting, give me a call and we'll get you all set up.
All right, everybody. Good luck and good selling. Thanks for your time today, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.